Welcome to this video lesson. As elementary educators, we wear many hats, from storyteller to mentor, guide to cheerleader. But behind the scenes, there's a rich tapestry of educational theories weaving through our lessons, shaping the way young minds grasp new concepts and ideas. In this video, we'll dive headfirst into the captivating realm of education theories, tailored specifically for elementary teachers like you. Get ready to embark on a journey where theory meets practice and where unlocking the secrets of learning becomes your superpower. This video lesson will introduce you to the major theories of literacy learning and the importance of these theories. Anytime you see the pause button, you are encouraged to pause the video lesson to practice or read further. Our first activity will be an anticipation guide. Anticipation guides are a reading strategy that will help to activate your prior knowledge so you can interact more fully with the content. Anticipation guides are designed to probe your attitudes and beliefs about important and sometimes controversial topics. There are often no right or wrong answers. The statements will alert you to your attitudes about the topic and encourage you to become more aware of areas where you might require additional information. For each of the statements shown, put a check under the agree or disagree to show how you feel. Be prepared to discuss your responses with classmates. Reading is, first and foremost, magical, as those who recall learning to read or have witnessed their students discover the process will attest. It opens the door to a vast world of information, fulfillment, and enjoyment. After having learned to read, a person is never quite the same. It is our job as teachers of any grade and any content area to help our students read and understand the material presented. I encourage you to find a copy of the book, Thank You, Mr. Falker, written by Patricia Polacco, and read it. There's also an excellent section about reading in the movie Love Comes Softly.
And the waggle.
Keep trying to sound it out.
And the wagon.
Good.
Tired of trying. It's too hard and I don't need to read anyhow.
Okay, fine.
You don't care if I do it?
No, not if you don't like adventures.
Reading ain't no adventure.
Once you can read, you can have every adventure you ever dreamed of. In the pages of a book, you are a princess in a tower, or the best shot in the West. In those pages, there are no limits to where you can go, who you can be. No one will ever tell you you're too young to slay the dragon because it all happens right here where it's safe.
I guess it wouldn't hurt them to practice a little bit more.
Before we begin studying the teaching of reading, it is important to know some of the theories of literacy learning and language development. In this lesson, we will discuss behavioralism, cognitivism, cognitive behavioral approach, top-down and bottom-up approaches, and the reading response theory. Behavioralism is a philosophy of learning that describes all the activities of an organism in terms of observable actions or behaviors. You may recall in your psychology courses talking about Pavlov and his experiments where dogs were taught to salivate at the ringing of a bell, or B.F. Skinner and his Skinner box. Behavioralists are only interested in observable actions or behaviors. They are not concerned with the internal thought process. Cognitivism is a philosophy of learning that describes the action of an organism in terms of observable actions or behaviors and internal or mental states. Both reading and writing are dynamic, interactive processes that are meaning-oriented. Many of the practices advocated in literacy education are based on the work of Jean Piaget and L.S. Vygotsky, the two leading developmental theorists of modern times. Vygotsky, a Russian psychologist, stressed the social nature of language and learning and the important role that adults play in both. Piaget, a Swiss psychologist, stressed stages of cognitive development and the unique nature of children's thinking. Piaget concluded that children's thinking is qualitatively different from adults' thinking and that it evolves through a series of hierarchical stages. He believed that children's thinking develops through direct experience with their environment. Through adaptation or interaction with the environment, the child builds psychological structures or schemes, which are ways of making sense of the world. Adaptation includes two complementary processes, assimilation and accommodation. Through assimilation, the child interprets the world in terms of his schemes. Seeing a small black cat, the child calls it kitty and assimilates this in his or her kitty scheme. Seeing a skunk for the first time, the child might relate it to his or her kitty scheme and call it kitty. Later, realizing that there is something different about this creature, he or she may accommodate the kitty scheme and exclude the skunk. Thus, the child has refined his kitty scheme. To Piaget, direct experience rather than language was the key determiner of cognitive development. Although both Piaget and Vygotsky believe that children need interaction with the world around them, Vygotsky stressed the importance of social factors in cognitive development. He is best known for the zone of proximal development and scaffolding. The zone of proximal development is the difference between the independent performance and the potential performance as determined through problem solving under guidance of an adult or more capable peer. In other words, the zone of proximal development is the difference between what the child can do on his or her own and what the child can do with help. The support and guidance provided by an adult or more capable peer is known as scaffolding. In the previous example about the kitty scheme, if when the child first sees a skunk and calls it kitty, a parent or older sibling says something like, "No, that's a skunk. It smells bad." The white stripe down its back helps us know it is a skunk, not a kitty. The child would accommodate the new information given to him or her through language and adapt the kitty scheme to exclude the skunk. Children gradually add the more abstract forms of drawing, reading, and writing that develop into literacy while they interact with adults and more capable peers. Behavioral and cognitive principles have been combined in an approach known as cognitive behavioral modification. Our behavior is affected by a set of rewards and punishments we have experienced in the past and our beliefs, thoughts, and expectations. This approach uses self-talk and rewards to replace faulty learning habits and beliefs with effective habits and strategies and realistic beliefs. In the bottom-up approach, students derive meaning from the accurate sequential processing of words where emphasis is on the text rather than the reader's background knowledge or language ability. Children literally start at the bottom and work their way up. First, they learn the names and shapes and letters of the alphabet. Next, they learn consonant sounds, followed by simple and then more complex vowel correspondences. In the bottom-up approach, instruction proceeds from the simple to the complex. In essence, there are probably no 100% bottom-uppers among reading teachers. Even those who strongly favor phonics recognize the importance of higher-level strategies. In the top-down approach, students derive meaning by using background knowledge, language ability, and expectations where emphasis is on the reader rather than the text. Learning to read is seen as being similar to learning to speak. It is holistic and progresses naturally through immersion. Sub-skills are not taught because it is felt that they fragment the process and make learning to read more abstract and difficult. As far as comprehension is concerned, the top-down view is that students build their understanding through discussions of high-quality literature or informational texts. There is generally no direct, explicit instruction of comprehension strategies. In the interactionist theory, students derive meaning in reading from processing text and using background knowledge and language ability. Most teachers tend to be more pragmatic than either strict top-downers or bottom-uppers and borrow practices from both ends of the continuum. These interactionalists teach skills directly and systematically, especially in the beginning, but they avoid overdoing it as they do not want to fragment the process. They also provide plenty of opportunity for students to experience the holistic nature of reading and writing by having them read whole books and write for real purposes. Still another way of looking at reading is from a literary or reader response view. This theory explores the role of the reader. Rosenblatt states, every reading act is an event or a transaction involving a particular reader and a particular pattern of signs, a text, and occurring at a particular time in a particular context. Instead of two fixed entities acting on one another, the reader and the text are two aspects of a total dynamic situation. The meaning does not reside ready-made in the text or in the reader, but happens or comes into being during the transaction between reader and text. The type of reading, of course, has an effect on the transaction. The reader can take an efferent or aesthetic stance. When reading is a set of directions, a science text, or a math problem, the reader takes an efferent stance, the focus being on obtaining information that can be carried away. In the aesthetic stance, the reader pays attention to the associations, feelings, attitudes, and idea that the words evoke. At this point, you may be thinking, why is it important to be aware of different theories of teaching reading? For one thing, it is important that you formulate your own personal beliefs about reading and writing instruction. These beliefs will be the foundation for your instruction. They will determine the goals you set, the instructional techniques you use, the materials you choose, the organization of your classroom, the reading and writing behaviors you expect students to exhibit, and the criteria you use to evaluate students. For example, whether you use children's books or a basal, how you teach phonics, and whether you expect flawless oral reading or are satisfied if the student's rendition is faithful to the sense of the selection, will depend upon your theoretical orientation. Secondly, it is also important to know your theoretical foundation in today's age of accountability. Being able to back up what you're doing in the classroom with well-known theory or theorists can be helpful. Also, it can help you know what the state and your principal are mandating you to do. Is it behavioral or cognitive, bottom-up or top-down? To successfully advocate for your students and your preferred teaching style, you need to know the theorist and be able to supply support, usually research articles, for your position. How did highly effective teachers get that way? They worked at it. They were always seeking better techniques and better materials. To sustain their desire for improvement, they kept up with the developments in the field through taking courses, attending workshops and in-services, and reading the professional literature. They also reflected on their teaching and sought the advice of colleagues. This course is based on the premise that virtually all children can learn to read and write.